Hi everyone. Um, I'm Michael Wayne Tardo-Remigio. Um, as you know, this is my YouTube page, Advice from a Recovering Addict, and today I would like to share my story of what I went through from a young man or a little boy to now, present day. You know, life of an addict is not easy, especially when you've been through a lot of trauma as a boy. Um, Far back as I can remember, I was like 9 or 10 years old, and my father, his name is Greg, my mother, Candy, and then I had two brothers, one a year older than me, named Greg Jr., and then a little brother named Andrew. But you know, I remember back then my house was very hostile. You know, my mom was with my dad for 16 plus years at the time, and I don't know at that time what substance he was using, but I believe he was smoking weed and drinking, and my mom was a drinker. And no, I just remember times when they used to fight all the time and argue over things I can't remember. But I used to see my dad hit my mom, you know, used to trouble me. It used to put fear in me and scare me. Um, I remember this time that we went out camping. Um, we took one of our childhood friends with us. Um, so it's four of us boys that went out camping with my mom and my father. And my mom and my dad were arguing about something I can't remember. But he punched her, knocked her out, and my dad's all mad and yelling and screaming, and he's trying to take our stuff, our camping stuff, after he knocked my mom out and throw it in the back of the truck. Um, I was hurt, embarrassed, because I had my friend there, but I picked up this big old stick and I told him, leave my mom alone, quit hitting her. I think I was about 10 at the time. And my dad started cussing at me, and then I just know he started to run after me, so I turned around and ran. He stopped, but I kept running for a little while, and then I stopped. You know, I felt like somebody needed to step up for my mom and help her when she couldn't be helped. So I feel like I took that on even at a young age. That burden, trying to help my mother, you know. And I think at that time my mom started to realize that too. So when we were 12, I remember, you know, seeing this new guy around my mom, and at the same time my dad was cheating on my mom, leaving at nighttime, going to the neighbors, thinking that nobody knew, but I saw. And it resonated a lot of anger in me. My dad used to come home and just hit me and beat me, and it sucked. He used to tell me I wasn't his son, that I was the milkman's baby, because I looked more like my mom than my father. So thinking back on it now, I started to search for somebody to look up to. I hated my father. I still have a lot of anger for him today. And, well, I remember, you know, we finally moved out when I was 12. My mom finally said fuck it and left him, you know, and now I got this new guy around, which is my stepfather today. You know, I love this man today a lot. I respect him. There's nothing I wouldn't do for this man. He is my father. Um, but at the time I was going through so much, I always gave him a hard time and disrespected him, and I was a hurt child. You know, my mom was still a drinker. You know, I started to drink at a young age. I think it was like 12, 13 when I had my first bit of alcohol. I remember ditching after school one day and being in the parking lot, literally apartments away from where I was living at my mom's house. We were in the parking lot just drinking. School called my mom, let her know, so she was out running around looking for me, and she came across me. And boy, did I get my butt whooped. You know, my mom always wanted the best for me. I couldn't see it then, but I see it today. You know, but it was tough. You know, at this age, I was running away from home 4 months at a time, not caring, just wanted to do me, wanted to be away from the house, scared, but I didn't care because I didn't want to be home. I remember a point in time in my life, I think I was 10 also. My brother was sexually molesting me. He was going through his own thing, I would like to think. And, whatever he was going through, he took it out on me. And then I turned around and did this to my younger brother because I didn't know no difference. You know? Shame and guilt. You know? But when I was 15 years old, I started hanging around with older dudes. They're from a neighborhood. And some of my friends, they were all from the same neighborhood. So I finally get jumped in, becoming this little bad kid that's searching for something, and it's not his parents. You know, I know right from wrong. My mom taught me, my dad taught me right from wrong. But they were all smoking meth and crystal at the time. My mom is a recovering addict. She's 39 years a recovering addict now from methamphetamines. She still has an occasional drink here and there, but my mom, for the most part, is sober. Um, and, well, so I was hanging out with some of my friends, and they were all doing this shit, and I wasn't doing it. I was playing football, you know, running away from home, but I still had a great life. It's not like my life was bad. I was just searching for something. Didn't know what it was. Wanted to be with my girlfriend. Wanted to hang out with my friends. And mind you, I know right from wrong. You know? So one day I told my friends, like, let me try that. They were a little hesitant at first, but they did. So I liked it. You know? I liked doing it. Made me escape my reality. It was tough. My sense of reality was pretty bad at that time. I just wanted to get away. So I got into meth. I did that for 2 years, in and out of juvenile detention, stealing golf carts, tagging on things, curfew, stealing from stores, stealing cars. You name it, I was doing it. And eventually I got out when I was, I think, 16 and a half, 17. And I I went back to school. I dropped out as a freshman. I went back my junior year, you know, to a great school. You know, I they were paying you for your grades, so now there was an incentive to do right. You know, so I got straight A's. I loved it. I loved my life. I loved what I was doing. I had a job after school, doing the responsible thing. 17 years old, I got my girlfriend pregnant. Um, uh, then I started hanging around with my old friends again. They came back into my life when I was doing really good, or I came back into their lives. You know, so I started doing meth again, and then I cheated on my baby's mother with another girl and got her pregnant. So both my kids are 6 months apart. Um, I had them both after I turned 18 years old. I was really close with the first one. The second one I barely knew, because 6 months after my second one was born is when the real tragedy started. I had this girlfriend named Vanessa Renee Ortiz. She she was a special human being. She was beyond her age. She loved life, and she was good to me. You know, I was deep in my addiction then, and so the night before I got a new job, I was going to start selling Kirby vacuums. This is in January 2005. I was going to start selling vacuums, making some money so I can help her mom out. I was staying at their house. Um, and so I had to set the alarm clock for January 12th or 13th, 2005. I had to start my new job. I put my alarm clock on for 5 o'clock. I was going to leave at 6, be there by 7. And I wake up about 8 or 9 o'clock. And I'm like, what the freak happened, Like, what's going on? After me and her talked, she told me that she turned off the alarm clock. Um, so we kind of get in a little bit of an argument, and she just wanted me to stay home. She didn't want me to work, but I get that now. So I was a little upset for a little while, but I eventually got over it. But like I said, I was using meth at the time. So I went outside, got high. We laid around for a while in bed. Everything was fine. Then it comes nighttime. Uh, Me and my girl were in the room. Her brother was in her room. Her sister, her aunt, my brother was outside the house in the front yard. And so I get a phone call. My homie calls me and says, "Hey, grab your thing. We need to go handle something." I said, "All right, cool." So back then I carried a 38 special revolver. I had it in my bag, and because she has a younger brother, I always clear it out. I always take the bullets out, put it back in my bag, and put it underneath the dresser that's far away from him. It's on the other side of the room, close to where I sleep. Well, I pull my gun out and I start going through my bag, looking for bullets and stuff like that, and looking for some other things that I needed. And she's sitting on the bed behind me, resting on her legs, facing me. She's probably like 3 feet behind me. So I'm all moving around the room trying to grab things, and she's like, "Watch out where you point that thing. Watch out where you move. You're gonna shoot somebody one of these times, on accident." I said, "No, I'm not. There's nothing in there. Quit tripping." So I kept going back to doing what I was doing, and she yelled at me again. She's like, "Stop doing that. You're gonna hurt somebody one of these times." I'm like, "Man, you freaking tripping, man." So then I say, "See, look." I grabbed a gun and I put it to my head. I pulled the trigger 3 times. I said, "See, told you, there's nothing in there." Then I made the biggest mistake of my life. I turned around and pointed to her head, and I squeezed the trigger, and a shot went off. That was tough. I was in motion towards her head when I pulled that trigger, so it's not like I pointed it dead at her. And I squeezed that trigger, I thought, before I hit her head, just in case there was something in there I didn't want to hit her. So when she hit the bed face down, in my mind at that time, I was like, "You're bullshitting. Stop." She didn't say nothing. All of a sudden, I seen a trickle of blood run down the bed. So I automatically go try to get her help. I run to her brother's room, notice he was in there, and I'm running around the house frantic, looking for everybody. I ran outside, and the first thing that came to my mind was Vanessa shot herself. They were like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Come here, I need help." And I'm freaking out. So we run back in. And at the time, my friend, my homeboy showed up. So we run back into the room. And they're looking like, "What the fuck is going on?" I grab a hold of her head. Trying to stop the bleeding. It was tough. You know, this girl you loved and thought you respected and wanted nothing the best for. In my mind, I just killed her. I was holding her head, begging everybody to call the cops, telling her I love her and I'm sorry. So they finally called the cops. Ambulance was on the way, and my friend grabbed my shoulder and said, "Come on, we gotta go." And I'm in such shock. I didn't know what to do. So I get up and I leave. We take off and we go to a friend's house on the next street. He's picking us up, so we can get out of there. My friend asked me, "Where's the gun? Where's the gun?" I said, "I don't even know." He went back to the house to try to look for it, couldn't find it. The only way, the only way I know where it's at today is because I read the police report. That's how much in shock I was. Um, so I ended up going to jail the next day, and then Vanessa dies 7 days later in the hospital due to complications, due to my actions. Now I'm looking at second degree murder. You know, it was tough. Never got to say goodbye formally. You know, at that time, did I deserve to say goodbye? Probably not. Today is different. I know what I actually did was an accident, but that at that time I was so high and so messed up I couldn't comprehend anything. So then I sit in jail. Well, first of all, at that night, I ended up going to my friend's house, which today is my wife. You know, then I ended up going to jail the next day. Um, you know, then I sat in county for a year and a half, year and 8 months. I had a lawyer that didn't give a shit about me. I had a lawyer that took him a whole year and a couple of days to come see me in county. The only time I ever seen him was at courts, and even then he would send his bench to go deal with me. He didn't give a shit. I tried firing him open court, didn't work. My judge told me I know him from the feds. He's a good lawyer, yada yada. So now I feel like the system is against me also. I ended up signing a plea for manslaughter, 12 years. I won't. It was open-ended plea for 7.5, or 7, 10.5, 21. They wanted me to sign this manslaughter plea. They were giving me nothing else, or we were going to box. I was scared, so I signed the 12 years. I signed the plea. I went to court, sentencing date. I went to court and told them it was an accident and I was sorry, and you know, I wish I would have made a better decision. Judge didn't want to hear it. He told me that I find more aggravating factors than I find mitigating, because why? He used my juvenile record against me when they weren't supposed to, but they did anyways. So they gave me 12 years. While I was in county, though, I found my next love, and that was heroin. Um, I tried committing suicide twice in county. Um, Both times I slammed a bunch of heroin, close to a gram, and this is when I first started. Wrote out my I love you papers to all my family and my friends, and I was really trying to end it. Both times I woke up. So so I stopped doing it. So then I ended up going to prison, and I'm Mexican and white. So in the state of Arizona, you pick a side and you ride with it. So I'm running Mexican, and I found my place real fast. I found my affiliations, and I start doing things you shouldn't do, especially doing heroin. Heroin is a prison drug. For anybody who's been to prison understands that. If you've never been to prison, understand majority of the time it is a prison drug. Um, so I drowned myself. I ended up doing 10 and a half flat, but for 9.5 of that I stayed high. It's not a day that didn't go by I wasn't high. I decided to quit cold turkey a year before I went out to the gate. And at this time I was talking to my friend, which is now my wife, is so I went home to her. I got out in 2015. My wife was a recovering addict at the time, and I got out to her, and I couldn't ask for anything better. You know, she gave me the full royal treatment, but little do we know, I'm still not right. I have not took care of none of my issues. All I have is flooded them, hit them, buried them, and so my wife gave me an opportunity. Well, at the time it was my girlfriend. Gave me an opportunity to to let everything go, just to move on. I said no. I wanted what I wanted. I did love her. What I knew as love then. I wanted that. So before you know it, I started cheating on her stuff, and I caused her to relapse. Put her back in her addiction, and now I'm back in mine because the whole time I never fixed nothing about me. So as soon as she started, I took that as a way back in to start mine again. Before you know it, I was up to no good, and I got shot. Got shot in the leg. Shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. Got sent back to prison. Went back to prison, killed my number. Got back out in 2017. Got back out, started talking to my girlfriend then at the time, and we were working things out, and everything was great. And I can remember July 7, 2017, we were sitting inside our RV. She asked me, she's like, what do you want to do today? And the whole time I've been telling her, prior to that, let's get married, let's get married, let's get married. At one point in time we were going to, but I think in her mind she didn't want to because we were so unstable. So 2017, July 7th, we were sitting in the RV, we were just talking and bullshitting around. She's like, what do you want to do today? I said, I don't know, whatever you want to do. I'm fine with whatever you want to do. She's like, you want to go get married? And man, that lit me up. That lit me up like a night sky full of stars, man. It was the best moment of my life. And so we went down to we got dressed. She got in her black dress. She's like, I already did white, let's do black. I got dressed in some khakis, red and blue shirt, and some Nikes she bought me. We both looked fresh, and we took off and got married. We went down to the city, did our little license, and then we went and got married in somebody's backyard. It was a beautiful thing. But anyways, after that day, like all it took was 4 months, and before you know it, we were both using again, fighting. I was on the streets, living on the streets. 2018, January, I was out in Mesa. I was trying to go to a friend's house to detox, to get off drugs. It was pretty bad. And I got pulled over by Mesa PD, and they asked me my name. I gave them my brother's name. First of all, I walked across the light rail tracks, and you know, I didn't know you couldn't, so they stopped me, and then they asked me my name. I gave them my brother's name because I had a warrant for driving on a suspended license. So they came back, and the one cop grabbed me from behind, and I didn't know who he was, so I pulled away, and both cops picked me up and threw me into a bike rack and started to whip me. In the process of them hitting me, they tased me, put me in a rear naked chokehold, and choked me out. At the same time, I thought I was going to die. A couple more cops showed up and they kept whooping me. They finally take me to jail, and they booked me on 4 counts of assault on an officer. 2 officers got scratches, little minor scratches, had nothing to do with me. They cut each other when they scratched each other while they were whooping my butt. And so again, I'm sitting in jail. You know, this time on something that could have been prevented if I would have given the right name, maybe, but it still didn't excuse me getting whooped like that. So I ended up getting bonded out. My wife ended up getting back in touch with me, and she bonded me out. But before you know it, we went to Flagstaff. We were having a great time, and I start using again, and before you know it, we're fighting again. So I'm back out again on the streets. I get caught in January 2019. This time I spent 11 months in there. I started to figure out myself. I started to realize I wanted to change. I was tired of this. I was tired of that, you know. Me and my wife weren't talking. My wife was pregnant with my daughter. She ended up losing it. So it was kind of a tough time for me, you know. But I wanted something different. So I do a little bit of work on myself, and not enough though, you know. So I get bonded out in 2019 in November. I spent 11 months in there sober, got my life together. I get back out, try to get in touch with my wife. You know, my wife is trying to set boundaries with me. She wants this and this from me. You know, she wants me to do the right thing, and you know, she just wants me to be a great man and do the right thing and lead the family that I wanted down the right path. So at this time, I remained sober from 2019 to 2021. We were doing great. You know, we were doing great. I can tell you now from the positives to the negatives of why I relapsed now, but at that time I didn't understand why, even at a great place in my life, I have to relapse. I was working at a groundskeeper at these apartments, and I found some fentanyl pills. I'm an ex-heroin addict, so I get curious and I try them. My wife is 6 months pregnant at the time also. I pretty much just spit in her face. You know, I told her, fuck you, I don't care. You know, I'm gonna get high. And I understand now why, but then I didn't understand. And didn't care because I was back in my addiction. You know, I was in and out of detox a couple times after that. I was such a piece of shit that I lied, cheated, manipulated everything that I could about my wife just because I wanted my cake and my ice cream and eat it too. So it was tough. You know, I told my wife I'll never touch that thing again, you know, as soon as my daughter's born. And I watched my wife have a C-section. I watched right before that when my wife is going through so much pain in the hospital trying to have my daughter. My wife is 43 years old. I'm 37. You know, my wife is starting all back over for me. You know, she is sacrificing the rest of her life for me, and I don't care. I care today. I didn't care then. I just wanted to get high. Nobody could tell me no different. So when I watched my daughter be born, I looked at my daughter and I started crying. And I told her I never touched that stuff again. 2 hours later, I was hurting again, so I ran back downstairs and smoked another tray. So I already lied to my daughter. My daughter wasn't enough. My wife wasn't enough. My son at the house and my older daughter wasn't enough. And my two boys that hardly know me wasn't enough to stop me from getting high. So I ended up going home. We ended up going home, figuring things out a little bit. My wife was telling me she's feeling alone, even though I'm home. I didn't quite understand that. So I distanced myself more. Before you know it, a situation happened with where I was talking to my brother's baby's mother. And a situation happened, and I got thrown out of the house. I'm very shameful for a lot of things I did. It hurt. I'm not a perfect person, you know. How I was feeling was no self-worth. I didn't feel like I deserved my wife. I didn't feel like I deserved my kids. I didn't feel like I deserved my life because I was a piece of shit. Because I didn't care about nobody but me. But instead of being honest with her, I lied to her. I did love her. I do love her. I just didn't know what love was. Because I didn't even love myself. It's tough. July 12th of 2023. My wife moved up to Flagstaff. I was down in the valley still. She told me I need to go find me. I need to figure out who I am. Because all I do is listen to everybody else how I should live my life. I never do nothing for myself. So I did. I checked myself into Muggy Young Detox Center. And then I checked myself into Waypoint Recovery after that for a 6-month program. I am 70, or I think I'm 70 days in. And I feel different. Much different. Today I can tell you that I meditated every morning. Thank my higher power for the change that is created within me. I found my inner child and told that little boy Michael that everything's going to be okay. I told him I loved him. I told him he was going to go through some hard times, but it's okay. You're going to make it. You're going to live. You're going to live. Be grateful for your moments. Don't try to ruin what you have. Find that peace within yourself. And before you knew it, as I'm praying and finding my inner child, I started to feel that weight lift from my shoulders. I was happy. I found my peace. You know, I found that mutual respect for myself. You know, I, I have no more resentments, anxiety, anger, hatred in my heart no more. I have nothing but joy, happiness, love, and I just want to give. You know, today I can honestly say that I started this YouTube page and I have a blog on Facebook also called Advice from a Recovering Addict. I'm doing this to give back to the individuals that have nothing. They can't find nothing, can't even find themselves. Then just need help or just advice or just needing to listen to somebody else's struggle so maybe they can get it or understand it. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I'm not here trying to throw facts at you. I'm only here to tell you my experience and tell you guys that as long as you find your inner you, you'll find why you're getting high. You'll find why you're an addict. We all know right from wrong. I understand that I chose to do that drug, but I didn't choose how my mind reacted to it, which puts me in my disease or my addiction. But now that I'm sober, I understand I have a choice. I either want to get high or you don't. So today, you know, I put in front of me positive things. I'm trying to take relapse out of my vocabulary. I push in the right direction the farther my relapse becomes a distant memory. You know, I'm starting a business just so I can get back to the guys here. I'm in a rehab that has 30 guys here trying to find themselves and do the same thing I'm doing. You know, and the more we go on this YouTube page, the more I will start bringing different guys in and getting different points of view on different topics, so that way you viewers at home can understand, or you know, different points of view on recovery or the things we go through. You know, I just want you guys to know that I love you guys. To all my addicts out there that's trying to find recovery, you can find it. You know, whatever you seek, you can find. It's just time for me to start walking this righteous path. You know, be a pillar in my community. You know, I want my kids to respect me and love me, and I'm hoping the rest of my family does too. You know, I destroyed my marriage with my wife. I don't know if she ever talked to me again, and I wouldn't blame her. You know, but I came to terms with myself, with the things I've done. You know, I don't love the bad things that I did, but in order to appreciate my new future, I had to go through the bad things, and I'm appreciative of that. You know, but I just want to wish all you guys a great day, and I love you. Please check out my blogs on my Facebook page called Advice from a Recovering Addict. You'll find it in the page section. Um, there's some information in there, the things I'm going through and things I'm learning. But I'll try to get one of these up a week so you guys can hear or see a change or hear the things that I'm learning.